Good morning, I am Smitha. Welcome back to the session of social science. In the last class, we already dealt with different layers of the earth, lithosphere, asthenosphere and different types of rocks. Today, we will be dealing with weathering, different types of soil, perishing of the soil and also how to conserve the soil. Let's go to weathering. Let us understand the meaning. What is weathering? Weathering is disintegration of rocks or breaking of rocks. There are three methods how the rocks may break. The three types of weathering are physical or mechanical weathering, chemical weathering, biological weathering. Let us understand what is physical or mechanical weathering. In the daytime, because of sunlight, the temperature is very high. Because of the high temperature, the minerals of the rock may expand. Same way, in the night, because of low temperature, the minerals of the rock will contract. This expansion and contraction of minerals leads to disintegration of rocks. Next, freezing of water in the fissures of the rock. That is, sometimes on the holes of the rock, we see some water drops. In the night, these water drops, because of low temperature, may change into ice. In the daytime, because of sunlight, this ice will again melt into water. Again here, expansion and contraction of minerals takes place. This leads into weathering of rocks. Next is chemical weathering. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, water react with the minerals of the rocks and leads to disintegration of rocks. Third one is biological weathering. Biological weathering means sometimes we see the roots of the plants penetrate into the rocks, fissures are created and the rocks break into pieces. Next, burrowing of animals. Some small animals like rats, worms, they make small holes on the rocks for their dwelling places and the rocks break. Decomposition of plant and animal remains, that is, plant and animal remains decay on the soil, decay on the rock and acid is created. This acid leads into the disintegration of rocks. Then human activities like mining and quarrying also leads into the disintegration of rocks. So these are three types of weathering, that is physical or mechanical weathering, chemical weathering and biological weathering. Now whatever I have explained, let us see in the form of a picture gallery. First one, what is weathering? Here you can see the broken rock. So weathering means breaking of rock. Second one, physical or mechanical weathering, that is expansion and contraction of minerals of the rocks leads to disintegration of the rock. That is physical or mechanical. Third one, chemical weathering, carbon dioxide, water, they react with the minerals of the rocks and rock leads to disintegration. Next one, biological weathering, plants of the roots penetrate into the rocks and the rocks break. Animal waste as well as plant waste, they create an acid and leads into the disintegration of rocks. Last one, animals, they make small burrows for their dwelling places and also leads in for disintegration of rocks. Next, how does weathering take place when humans enter into the environment? First one is quarrying. You can see the picture of the JCB, how they are taking the stones here, which leads into disintegration of rocks. Next is deforestation. Cutting down the trees also leads into disintegration of rocks. Construction activities. Construction activities also leads into the breaking of rocks. Next, destroying the hills. You can see the picture here. When the hills are destroyed, the rocks break into pieces. Last one, preparing ground for cultivation. When the land is still for cultivation purposes, there is a chance for the rocks to break. Next, soil evolves. Soil is a natural resource, and how it is formed? It is formed through weathering of rocks, and later the organic matter mixes with it and it becomes more fertile. So formation of soil nearly takes thousands of years. There are various factors influencing the soil formation. The factors are climate, plants and animals, time, topography, parent rock. First, let us take into consideration climate. In the high temperature, chemical reaction, biological reaction is very higher. So the soil formation in high temperature also is quicker. In the low temperature, the soil formation takes place very slowly. Next one is plants and animals. Plants and animal remains create an acid which leads to weathering of rocks. That is how the soil is formed. Next factor, time. It nearly takes 1000 years for the formation of soil. Third one, topography. Topography is the shape of the land. In the inclined regions are favorable place for the formation of soil. Last one, parent rock. The minerals of the rock or the structure of the rock depends upon from which rock it has been formed. So these are the factors of soil formation. Next we have different types of soil. The different types of soil found in India: alluvial soil, black soil, laterite soil, red soil, desert soil, mountain soil. In Kerala, alluvial soil, laterite soil, forest soil, red soil, black soil. Now let us move on to a picture gallery. Alluvial soil. It is found near the river valleys in the deltas. And India is the richest country in terms of alluvial soil. Black soil is found in the Deccan Plateau regions and it is very good for cotton cultivation. Third one, laterite soil. It has got high iron oxide content in it and it is formed through weathering. A red soil has got iron content in it, that is why it is red in color and it is formed through weathering. Desert soil, it is formed in dry places where there is less rainfall, just like Rajasthan. Last one, mountain soil. It is found in the hilly areas and also humus content is very high. Next, let us go to soil for sustenance. We begin our life in the soil and also end in the soil. This is explained with the help of a food chain. Now, when a small seed is planted, it absorbs all the nutrients from the soil and it grows thickly. After absorbing all the nutrients, it grows thickly, a better yield will be produced and that is consumed by the humans. Now, you can see that with the help of the food chain here. With the help of sunlight, water, the plant grows. This plant is consumed by the grasshopper. This grasshopper is eaten by the frog. This frog is eaten by the snake and then by the eagle. Last, every waste reaches into the soil. So soil is very important, just like water and air. We begin our life in the soil and also end our life in the soil. Next, perishing soil. How soil is polluted. First point, deforestation. Do not cut down the trees because the roots of the trees hold the soil just like a net. So if ever the trees are cut down, the soil erosion will take place quickly. Next, destruction of hills, unscientific agricultural practices. When the hills are destroyed, the soil is polluted here. Next, non-degradable materials like plastic cause soil pollution. Plastic waste, when it is put in the soil, it will decrease the fertility of the soil. Overuse of chemical fertilizers, you can see here chemical fertilizers are used and these fertilizers flow into the soil and it pollute the soil. Next, unscientific construction quarrying. For construction purposes, lot of stones will be taken, that also leads into the soil pollution. Agricultural land used for non-agricultural purposes. The land is very fertile for cultivation, but that land is not used for cultivation. It is used for construction purposes. That is also one method of soil is polluted. Next, draining wastewater into the soil. All the waste is let into the soil and fertility of the soil is lost. Last one, overgrazing. Overgrazing of animals also pollutes the soil. That means the roots of the grass hold the soil very tightly. Once the grass is lost, the top soil is removed. So, letting animals for overgrazing must be reduced. That also causes soil pollution. Last, how soil can be conserved. Conservation of soil. Check deforestation. That is, trees should not be cut down because it holds the soil just like a net. Second one is crop rotation. Grow various types of crops in the same land so fertility of the soil will be increased. Terrace farming. Plants will be planted here stepwise where soil erosion will be very less. Next, constructing check dams. Here these are the temporary dams which will stop the soil as well as water flowing. Next is cover cropping. Plant the crops of different height. So the force of the water when it falls on the ground will be very less, which will stop the water, which will stop the soil flow. Next one is crop diversification. Variety of crops are grown in a given area in order to increase production. Control over grazing. Too many animals must not be let into the field to graze. The top soil will be completely wiped away. So this is all in today's session. Thank you.